My marriage was about 6 months old at that time. A bolt of lightning struck my otherwise mundane life. My husband forced me to take care of my father-in-law who had become bedridden as a result of an accident, because that was the first experience to me. I struggled with caring for my father-in-law. Then my husband said to me, "We're going to relax in Hawaii and you'll look after my father." My husband and my mother-in-law left for Hawaii, leaving me behind. They still didn't know. They had no idea what kind of tragedy their decision would cause later on. Katie is my name, and I am 30 years old. I've always enjoyed cooking. So after graduating from college, I went to work for a major restaurant chain. I am now in charge of developing new products in the planning department. 8 years after starting there, I met Jacob, who later became my husband 2 years ago. I went to my favorite Japanese pub all by myself, found for that day, sat at a counter. Jacob was sitting next to me. We found we were the same age through a conversation with the pub master. We had a nice chat and exchanged contacts. Jacob began inviting me to dinner on a regular basis after that, and we began spending time alone together. He was upbeat and funny, and I found myself drawn to him. He appeared to be the same way, and we started dating naturally. We got married 6 months ago after a year of dating. We are currently enjoying living together in an apartment located between our workplaces. I sometimes cut corners on housework because we both have work, but Jacob always smiles and says you don't have to be perfect at housework. I'm just happy being with you. I wish I took time to prepare dinner as well, but I'm happy just to be able to have dinner with the person I love. I believe. So thank you, I said. Jacob is always so gracious, only to you. I like to treat the people I like nicely. I'm so happy to be your wife. Me too. I'm really happy to have a wife like you. Even 6 months after our wedding, our relationship is still so good that we have conversations like this today. I thought that our happy days would last for a long time, but then all of a sudden, those happy days vanished. My husband was already in the living room when I got home from work that day. Normally, the first one who got home would say, "Hey." However, there was a somewhat heavy silence on that day. I nervously talked to my husband, who was on his phone with a worried face. "Jacob, hey, are you all right? Hey, Katie, I was completely out of it. What happened? You seem terrified." "Oh, it's just my mother called from your mom. Dad got involved in an accident." "What?" I couldn't keep up with the unexpected response, but we couldn't sit at home doing nothing. I immediately took my husband's hand. "What are you doing sitting there like that? We must visit our father now." "I'm afraid we can't." "No, why? There is no way we can meet him right now. Does that imply he's not feeling well?" "Yeah, we don't have to come because Mom is going to stay with him until he gets better." "Oh no!" His words made me realize there was nothing I could do at this point. I let go of his hand and sat down on the sofa. "I'm concerned if he is okay." Jacob remained silent. My anxiety was heightened by his silence. My father-in-law had only recently turned 65 years old. On his days off, he had often taken good care of his health, going hiking and golfing. My husband works for my father-in-law, who owns a business. My husband must be perplexed that my father-in-law, who is also his father and the president of the company where he works, is experiencing this. I couldn't imagine him in his usual cheerful mood that day because he was so depressed. We were finally able to visit my father-in-law. A week later, my father-in-law was lying in the hospital room with a powerless smile on his face when I arrived as my husband. "Are you all right?" My father-in-law apologetically scratched his head. "Katie, I'm sorry. I apologize for causing you a concern. I'm not upset. I'm relieved that you are safe. I'm glad to hear that and able to speak slowly. I'm fine. Oh, but please stay in bed for a while." My father-in-law smiled as he heard my words. I felt relieved when I saw his smile. My father-in-law suffered a spinal cord injury as a result of the accident and is still paralyzed. In terms of treatment, he would be hospitalized and undergo rehabilitation for about 2 months to assess his progress. Even after he was released from the hospital, he would require ongoing rehabilitation. Thomas decided to assume the presidency in place of his father while he is away. Although only for a short time, having my own husband as a president was unusual. My mother-in-law arrived in the hospital room while I was watching the conversation between my husband and father-in-law. She summoned me to a hospital room corner and spoke sarcastically to me. "Hey, Katie, are you sure you're not mistaken?" "I'm mistaken," I asked. "You are indeed. Just because Jacob is president doesn't mean you can't have fun, right? Please don't take advantage of Jacob." I don't have to be concerned about that because I'm employed and well compensated. I'm not sure in the first place you were aware that Jacob was the boss's son. What a vile young lady! The mother-in-law smirked and said those words matter-of-factly. But it was her imagination, not reality. I didn't realize Jacob was the president's son until we were dating for a while. As a result, my mother-in-law has been sarcastic toward me since the start of our marriage. I didn't want to be misunderstood and hated her one-sidedly, so I snapped at her on the spot. I didn't ask him for money. Jacob's personality captivated me. What are you on about? You speak to me as if you know who I am. That is correct. Nothing would be misunderstood by you. I'm not sure. Whatever you say, I will never approve of you. Oh no, my father-in-law, perhaps noticing her conversation, and asked, "What's wrong?" "It's nothing," my mother-in-law said, glaring at me. My mother-in-law's words and actions made it clear that she adored Jacob. She probably thought I'm a woman who approached her son for money because we married after only a year of dating. Her attitude toward me has been ruthless since the moment I went to greet her at the wedding. But under that circumstances, I never expected my mother-in-law to be so sarcastic towards me. My husband also adored her troublingly. He said something like this a few days later. "Katie, you're aware that my father will be released from the hospital the month after next, right? We'll be returning to my parents' house at that time." "Wait a minute," I said. "Why are you suddenly saying so?" "That was suggested by Mom. This is a good time for us to move in together. She said Mom can't live with my father by herself." "But it's not easy to do that so quickly. What are you on about? We're all in this together." Mom says to me that is so thankful. I was perplexed, but he stated unequivocally, "Anyway, that is a decision. Simply get your belongings packed in time for the move-in." "Wait, I won't be able to commute to work if I move to your parents' house. We had trouble finding an apartment near our workplaces." "Isn't it only 5 stops by train from my parents' house?" "You're very fortunate to be able to sit on the train in the morning." It appeared that my husband and mother-in-law had already decided to live together. After that, I asked my husband several times if we wanted to avoid moving in together, but they paid no attention to me. My husband became more devoted to my mother-in-law than ever before. On the other hand, his words and actions towards me became increasingly harsh. He was giving me another nagging lecture every single day. "How's the packing coming along? I won't be able to take time off work on the day of the movie, so you will fill in for me, okay? You will be in charge of all household duties and Dad's care." Don't make my mother suffer. Even before the move, I was mentally overwhelmed by such remarks. The company was in the midst of a busy season, and I was juggling work and moving preparations. I was physically and mentally exhausted. 2 months later, the move was completed successfully, and my father-in-law was released from the hospital. I hardly had time to breathe, but I started a new job as a caregiver of my father-in-law. I got up at 4 a.m. to prepare breakfast and do laundry at the same time. Following that, I flew to my father-in-law to give him a morning massage and change his clothes. I had to finish breakfast before my husband and mother-in-law did, and once I was done, I helped my father-in-law with his meals. I finally left for work after everyone had finished their breakfast. Despite all of my caregiving and housework, my mother-in-law was not pleased. She would always try to prevent me from going to work in the morning. "Katie, do you have a minute? I apologize to your mother-in-law. I have to leave right now." "What are you on about? I'd like to make a complaint about your breakfast. That is why I am speaking to you. When I get back, I'll reach out to you." "Now I'm going. Don't argue with me. Just sit there." "No. Come on, take a seat." My headache began with my mother-in-law's yelling. I started having heart palpitations and headaches whenever my husband or mother-in-law gave me an unreasonable ceremony at the time. However, responding to them was counterproductive. The quickest way to complete tasks was to remain silent. Because of my mother-in-law's sermons, I was always barely on time for work. My coworkers were concerned about my tardiness because I had never been late before. 3 months had passed since my father-in-law left the hospital. I didn't have time to catch my breath because I was so busy. I had to prepare dinner as soon as I got home from work. My husband scorned the dishes I had hurriedly prepared in the limited time available. "What's the deal, Katie? I come home exhausted. And you want to have fish? Are you sure? I apologize." I had to leave the kitchen to clean up my father-in-law, so I made boiled fish. "You should make something that will increase my stamina. I'm not interested in boiled fish." My husband took out a cup of noodles and began to fill it with hot water as she watched me fall silent. My mother-in-law smirked, depressed. I went to my father-in-law and dressed for the evening. Then, perhaps noticing my predicament, he inquired worriedly, "Katie, you appear pale. Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I've been a little preoccupied with work." "Is that it? I've been hearing a lot of yelling from my wife and Jacob lately." "It's entirely my fault. I'm not particularly talented in many areas. I don't think you look like that." I tried my hardest not to worry my father-in-law by smiling and lying. That's what I only could do to keep my spirits up. The truth was that I'd always wanted to get out of there. But what if I left now? What would happen to my father-in-law? I couldn't just throw it all away after thinking about it. I had days off from work at the end of the year, but that didn't stop me from doing house cleaning. My husband made an outrageous statement on New Year's Eve. My mother and I are currently on our way to Hawaii. What? Hawaii? I spent a long time discussing it with my mother. We've been discussing it for quite some time. Wait a second. Think about the situation your father is in. He is okay with you being here. You're also off work, so you should do something. Was that triumphant expression on their faces? My husband and mother-in-law showed me their large carry-on cases. They must have found my perplexity amusing because they tried hard not to laugh. The trip's first day, as they were leaving the house, my husband said simply, "Well, you're going to take care of my father. We're going to Hawaii to unwind. We'll be relaxing in Hawaii, so you'll have to do it yourself." My husband and mother-in-law both laughed as they shut the front door. Something inside of me snapped at that exact moment. Look after him. What are you on about? Why do I have to do everything by myself as a step-family member? I can't take it any longer. I'm divorcing him. When they returned, something exploded in my head, and I resolved to devote myself to caring for my father-in-law until they returned home. I was already planning to divorce, and I decided to do nothing and leave the housework. I made breakfast for my father-in-law as usual the next day and went to his room with a towel to wipe him and change of clothes. My father-in-law approached me with a smile as I did so. "Mary, best wishes for the new year." "Dad, I wish you a happy new year. What happened to Tom and my wife last night?" "They appeared to be in some sort of trouble. They went to Hawaii." "What? Hawaii?" Father-in-law sighed deeply and looked skeptical. "What? Oh, Dad, let's get this party started, shall we? I apologize for everything." "Wait a second. What are your thoughts?" "I've been able to get out of my bed on my own for a few days now. I have been waiting for the right moment, but I never imagined they'd get it just right." "What exactly do you mean?" My father-in-law then smiled and began to speak slowly. My father-in-law apparently wanted to do something about the fact that I was the only one being pushed around. I asked my mother-in-law and husband to run errands for me, but they ignored me completely. Furthermore, the company's executive director contacted him and reported that my husband, the company's acting president, was doing whatever he pleased. This trip, too, must have been paid for by the company. So my father-in-law contacted a company representative and asked him to monitor my husband's behaviors. Then his laziness at work was discovered, and everyone was furious. My father-in-law was supposed to return to the company as president after the new year. My husband was supposed to return to be an employee, but decided to fire him. The home is also in the name of father-in-law. While they were away, we changed the locks and devised a strategy to keep them out. When they returned, I went to the city office to pick up 2 divorce papers while they were there. A week has passed. The front door shook and the intercom rang repeatedly. My husband and mother-in-law, who had just returned from Hawaii, were attempting to open the door. I responded to them via the monitor. "Good to see you back. How was your journey?" "What the heck? Please open the door right now, because I am unable to do so. That's something I can't do." My father-in-law warned me not to open the door. What? What are you talking about? Hey, did you have a good time? The trip was company funds. How did you find out about that? I don't know. My husband's expression said I couldn't help but laugh as I watched their expressions on the monitor. My father-in-law, who was listening to the conversation, then interrupted from the side. "Oh, you really embezzled my company's money. Why? You weren't supposed to be able to stand. I've been able to stand for a few days now, thanks to Mary's rehabilitation assistance. And the managing director has told me about your shady attitude at work." "Who is the managing director?" No, Dad, nothing was done by me. Give it up. You've been fired, you inept piece of shit. Pack your belongings and leave my office immediately through the monitor. My husband began to complain with tears in his eyes. You won't leave me, will you? I snapped back at him as he clutched at me. What? What are you talking about? Do you know how I felt from the time you decided to live with parents without my permission until today? You took advantage of me along with Mother and forced me to take care of your father, as a matter of course. Do you have any idea how hard it's been for me? Oh, calm down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your apology is worthless. When you left on your trip, I understood. It's a waste of time to continue the family with you. I'll live on my own. I don't want a motherfucker like you. At my words, my husband backed away, dazzlingly. My mother-in-law hurried to support him. The scene was that of a painful mother and son. After that, my father-in-law opened the front door and confronted them with the divorce papers I had received. I had them fill out the divorce papers right then and there, and I kicked them out and locked the door. My husband and mother-in-law pleaded repeatedly opened this door, but my father-in-law never responded to their pleas. I have not seen them since. Rumor has it that they are both unemployed and cannot afford to rent a room, so they are sleeping in a comic book cafe and working day jobs. It must be a world of difference from the life they had been leading. Well, the punishment is well worth it for them. After the divorce, my father-in-law said to me, I'm going to hire a housekeeper from now on, so you are free to go. I took him at his words and moved to a place near my work. I am now living a comfortable and fulfilling life. I cannot thank my father-in-law enough for saving me. I am determined to repay him in any way I can.